Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Your brother Noor joining you here for the Brothers in Need online event. Alhamdulillah, topic has been given, why give a charity? And the answer that I was given was, it is a deed that never ends. So when I was given this answer, I wanted to see, what's the proof? Let's have a look into the teachings and the life of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam to see. So he sallallahu alayhi wasallam tells us about three things that follow us when we pass away. Three things follow us to the grave: our family, our wealth, and our deeds. And then he goes on to say that two of those return. So our family and our wealth return, and our deeds are what remain with us. So then he sallallahu alayhi wasallam in another hadith teaches us what in particular, what deeds are going to benefit us when we are in our graves. So in another hadith he says, Sadaqah Jariyah benefits you after you die. So it's some sort of charity that's ongoing. It says knowledge that has been taught, and is continued to be implemented. And then he also says a righteous child that makes dua for you. So these are the three things that benefit you while you are in your grave. Now I'm just going to take some lessons from the hadith and some things that I went through, alhamdulillah, when we took this hadith in study. I'm going to share with you three things that I believe we should focus on to inshallah to have a charity that doesn't end, or a deed that doesn't end. So the first and the most important, I believe, is to seek knowledge and pass it on to others. Seeking knowledge is an obligation in our religion. And without it, we are not able to fulfill the obligations toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Things like learning how to make wudu so that we can pray, and then learning how to pray, right? How do we pay our zakat? How do I perform, hajj or umrah? How do I do many things in life, right? Without the knowledge of these things, I can't implement Islam and I can't fulfill my purpose, which is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, just imagine you taught someone how to pray, and you receive the reward for every single prayer that they do, or little things like, teaching someone the alphabet or how to read Quran and receiving 10 hasanat for every single letter they read in the Quran. So teaching knowledge, it's a huge thing. There's an abundance of rewards on offer. For a lot of people though, you might be thinking, well, look, I'm a bit busy. I can only learn enough for myself, maybe my family. How do I affect the masses? Well, for many, we have the opportunity, because we do a bit better than others, we can facilitate. Yes, so we can help facilitate for others to learn, who will then go and teach, right? Which then becomes an ongoing charity as well. So if you invest in places that teach knowledge and that facilitate for seeking and teaching, then this is also a good idea in expanding the mindset and concept of learning and teaching. The second thing I want to point out and elaborate on maybe just a little bit is awqaf, Islamic endowments. So when we talk about Sadaqah Jariyah and we want ongoing charity, we as Muslims should also encourage Islamic endowments, awqaf. Now, to sum it up pretty easily for you, for the ones here living in Australia, look, there's a fantastic organisation that have already put their hand out and said that they will be the first ones to do this sort of thing. And if they're not the first, then I do apologise. But Awqaf Australia are leading the way in this field. So if you are interested in having some sort of ongoing charity, do look towards Awqaf Australia and look towards investing in Islamic endowments. What these Islamic endowments do is they create a self-sustaining society. They allow masajid to be self-sustained, so there's less pressure on the community. They allow for these organizations to not rely on crisis times for us to have to fork out, and maybe things are happening and there's a shortage in funds. It allows them to have some sort of income without having to solely rely on the community, so that there is, like we said, a self-sustaining concept and environment there. So we should look towards investing in Islamic endowments. As I said, there's an organization in Australia that's already doing it. And if you are an Islamic organization, then maybe look towards creating your own Islamic endowment that can help fund and sustain your project. And the third and last thing I want to talk about when it comes to a deed or a charity that never ends is our character and our manners. Now, our character and our manners are, a cornerstone of our religion. It's a core fundamental, and unfortunately, it's something that's, readily overlooked. You don't need to go far, and I say this with great sadness. When you speak to a lot of people from the community far and wide, there seems to be some sort of negative connotation whenever we bring up, the Islamic name or dealing with Muslims, and this is very unfortunate. Now, you might be thinking, what does this have to do with charity? What does it have to do with a deed that doesn't end well? We, my brothers and sisters, if we take it upon ourselves, and put our hands out and take the first step towards fixing our manners and our character, right, and correcting it, then this in turn will, have some sort of a ripple effect. It'll help those around us. Good manners and character, it's something that it's contagious. You'll find that as soon as you're smiling around people, they smile back at you. As soon as you're using good polite words, and having respect towards others, they start to have respect towards you and others as well. So it creates this sort of ripple effect, and it's very, very contagious. Now, where do I learn good manners? Many people ask, where do I learn good manners? They think, there's some mystic theory, or, if someone didn't have a good upbringing from their parents, and they generally just can't develop good manners. Well, this is incorrect. We learn good manners from our two sources, and the two main sources of our religion when it comes to anything: the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she says, the Prophet, his manners, his character was the Quran. He was a walking Quran, and the Quran does that to you. When you implement Quran and when you read Quran and you learn about it, okay, and you learn the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, this humbles you, and this creates some sort of mannerism about you, some character about you. And it's something I can't describe, and it's something you're just going to have to do. You'll have to read the Quran in a language that you can understand, and then you'll know exactly what it is I'm talking about. And then with the Sunnah, unfortunately, a lot of us don't read enough or listen about the Prophet ﷺ's life. Just by reflecting on his life and learning about it, we will see many occasions, how he dealt with people, how he spoke, what he said, how he was very, articulate in his words, and things like that. And we can take a lot from just reading about his life. And of course, alhamdulillah, the scholars have done, beautiful work for us and made the platform very easy for us. We can read, particular ahadith and things like that that pertain to his manners. And you can go to your, of course, your ever reliable Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, just to find, a couple of gems when it comes to the mannerisms of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then from there, you'll find that a lot of these characteristics that the Prophet had, you'll be adapting them. Like I said, it's very contagious. When you see or read or hear about good manners, it's contagious. It becomes something, a part of you. So my advice, brothers and sisters, look towards seeking knowledge so that you can pass it on. Very important. Teach people about anything that is going to benefit them or the community. And if you can't, then look to facilitate it. Think outside the box and look to facilitate it. Secondly, invest in Islamic endowments. I mentioned an Australian organization here in the video. Hopefully, other Islamic organizations have the same or can produce the same. Again, it creates a self-sustaining, environment and mentality, which is definitely more beneficial for the Islamic organization and for us as a community in the long run. And last but not least, correcting our character and our manners, and this will have, a long-lasting effect. You affect many people with your manners and your characteristics. This gets passed on down through generations and generations. And this is what we want to see in our community. We want to see beautiful character and beautiful manners, so that we can, fulfill our obligations towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and look after one another, and inshallah, create some sort of a sense of unity amongst our community. So barakallahu feekum for your time, and thank you for watching the video. Thank you to Brothers in Need for giving me the chance to share this reminder with you guys. Hopefully we'll see you guys again soon. Ramadan Mubarak, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.